And we're live with the lovely Rachel. And we will have now I'm going to ask her about her strengths, and but there's a slight introduction to that. I'll ask what's your approach to bringing up your children?
Well, I want them to sort of be free to pursue their interests and just treat people with respect. Um, I don't like to impose a lot of guidelines on them, I guess. I want them to be able to find what they like, with certain exceptions, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a tough question because I don't have a very specific idea of what I want my kids to do. It's more of a when I need to get them back in line and dealing with that than a plan per se. You know.
What are the most important values that you would like to instill in them?
Well, that seems like sort of a narcissistic thing because it's like I'm going to talk about what I think is really important, and this is I teach that to them, um, to try and be really open minded and listen to people, um, to not judge a book by its cover. Um, to just respect people's differences. Um, I think that's pretty much it.
Right then. So take as long as little as you like. What do you think your strengths are?
Well, I put as one of my strengths is that I'm very aware of what I think my weaknesses are, and I try to either ask for help or to not put myself in situations where that will be evident to other people. Um, Also, I guess I would say being open minded. I'm open minded almost to a fault. I want to hear everyone out. Don't tend to think that I'm necessarily right about things, even if I have an opinion.
Wait a minute, this is the strengths section, not the weaknesses section.
Well, see, I see that as a strength because my mind's always open to something. I think when you have a really strong opinion that uh, what are the chances out of all the opinions out there that you're right and maybe you're not going to listen to somebody because you're so fixed in your mind, that sort of thing. Um, what else? I really don't have a lot written. Uh,
Do you think you're good at putting other people's feelings before your own?
I try, uh, and again, it's a situation of if I'm in discomfort emotionally or physically, then I tend to focus on my correcting that, either by separating myself from a situation or a person. But I do try to be aware of other people's feelings, and I like to make people feel good. Um, it makes me feel good to make other people feel good. I try to make things fun. Um, I try to have a good time with people and be there for them to listen if they need it. Um, so
If
yeah, I guess I'm better at that sort of stuff than anything practical.
right, if you're in a situation where there was a sort of a conflict between your own values and the group values and the atmosphere of the people around you, what would generally win out?
It depends on how serious the thing is. You know, if I don't really enjoy competition in sports and that sort of thing, but if I'm in a group where that's the focus, I'm not going to sit and complain or say, hey, this is really boring to me, I don't like this, you know, I don't want to ruin everyone else's fun. But if it was something really serious, like, oh, there's somebody over there abusing an animal and everyone is just like cool with it, then I would say something. So yeah, that totally depends on how serious it is.
Okay, if you were in, yes, sorry, if you were in a situation where there was a political discussion and people were saying things that you didn't agree with, but they were your friends, would you keep your opinions to yourself? I mean, even if they're not your friends, they're like just acquaintances and things. Would you keep your opinions to yourself in order to preserve the atmosphere, or would you stick up for what you believe in and risk a situation developing?
It depends on how close of a friend it is. If it's somebody that I'm close with, then I would be honest about how I feel. And I would say, this is why I feel this way. Can you explain to me why you have this other and help me understand? It doesn't make sense to me and it's bothering me, or something along those lines. And I think it would only escalate at that point if the person was being directly disrespectful, like, oh, you're stupid, you're this, you're that. Because in general, I'm willing to listen to other people's reasoning, and I appreciate them taking the time to explain something to me. But if it's somebody that I don't know very well, then I wouldn't take the time to talk about it. I would just think, well, this person doesn't know me from, you know, anyone, and why are they going to care what I think? I'll just ignore it.
So if you're in a situation with ENTPs and they were saying, say, off-color comments, but they weren't actually being cruel, would you let it slide, or would you bring them up on it? Would you, pull them up on it?
Would it be in a situation where they were saying these things to somebody who was offended by it? Or
no,
just
it's just
joking around amongst themselves?
Yeah.
I would try and think about whether or not they really believe these things, or they're being absurd for the sake of being absurd. If it was the latter, then I wouldn't care at all. And if it was the former, then I would say, you know, you do realize this, and this, and then try and engage them in a conversation and make them aware that I think maybe they're missing a piece of the puzzle if that's their attitude about things.
Right, but you wouldn't tell them off and judge them.
Oh, I might be making them aware that I don't approve, but yeah. I don't think that name calling and yelling and that sort of thing would help in that sort of situation. If somebody wasn't really getting to me with the way that they're talking to me, I suppose it could come to that.
Right. So, any more strengths? Pre-planning the hangouts?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I guess. I definitely try and plan for things. I did write down also Try to be aware of and prepare for or avoid potential problems.
Right.
Trying to avoid physical danger and conflict and warning others of those things too.
If you've got any more details, I'm glad to listen.
Okay. Well, sometimes I give people advice about, oh, you probably shouldn't talk to so-and-so right now. They're not in a good mood. Wait until this time of day to bring something up. Don't say it in that way. Try it this way. You should not be wearing that coat outside. It's 90 degrees, and that's a very heavy coat. You look troubled.
Yeah, you see, I had this fantastic question and then I forgot it for about 20 seconds. And the fantastic question is, when you're doing, when they're giving you, like when you're doing online tests and you're getting the Jaypee questions, what do you think of the Jaypee questions and what do you usually choose?
Well, that's difficult because, well, I like order and I like structure. I also like people to have freedom, and I also like to be lazy. So it's almost like I'm torn 50-50.
Yeah, because that's the thing in socionics. For introverts, it's reversed, the Jaypee. So, what about in terms of external organization and scheduling? How are you with scheduling?
Oh my gosh. I'm a mess. It's a good thing that I have a calendar on my phone that will alert me, because I feel like I can't keep track of what's supposed to be happening when, especially if there's a lot of things, and it just makes me feel a little bit like overwhelmed, like there's chaos going on.
So you think without that you'd lose track of time?
I would be late. Even with it, I find myself like, oh no, I wrote down this thing twice because I had to reschedule, and now I've come at the wrong time, or I didn't arrive for the right one, and I get overwhelmed with scheduling and things like that, and I really have to, there's been a few times when I felt like I was on top of things, but that's like I write out a to-do list, and then I look at the to-do list and it's like, oh, this is a mess. And then I write it again and I organize it by, oh, these are priorities. These are a little bit less of a priority, and this is okay if it doesn't happen. And then I'll organize it a third time, and okay, well, this can be done at home, and this one can be done during this time of the day, and this one can be done online, and to keep going until it actually looks like, okay, this is comfortable and I feel okay looking at this, and it's not causing me any anxiety anymore. I'm not worried that I'm going to not do something that needs to be done.
I might have asked this question before, but I think it's important. Is what do you think of detailed instructions? Do you like being given detailed instructions or not?
Yes, I do, because I want to know exactly what's expected so that I can do exactly what was expected.
Give some examples, please.
Well, for instance, when I visit like a psychiatrist's office with my children, and they say, oh, well, you need to request this, it's called an IEP program for your children. And I'm thinking, oh no, I don't know what the procedure is for this. If I will be taken seriously, I don't know anything about this at all. And then the lady has a packet, and it's like, oh, you can just type this letter word for word, and then put in your, their names, and then their specific information here, and change this. And I was, okay, thank goodness, because if this is what is found to work, then that's like a load of stress off of me, because I know all I have to do is do this and it'll work.
Right. That's a pretty SJ answer. But so now we can sort of like go towards where your NF-ness might be coming from. Is it coming from your type, or is it coming from your Enneagram? So I think you said off air that you're an Enneagram 4.
I think I am.
So what do you find? So please tell us about your Enneagram 4-ness.
Well, I told you about my social anxiety growing up, and a lot of that was just I felt like there was something lacking in me, or something wrong with me that other people around me seemed to naturally have. And so I felt very alienated and stuck in my own head. And I suppose that's the biggest thing. It's just this idea that other people are okay, but there's something off about me. And I don't know what it is, but I'm searching and searching and searching for something that will make me understand who I am and where I belong and all of that. So that's what I related to about Enneagram 4 that I've come across.
What about the central theme of to be different, to be distinctive, to be original?
I like that. I don't suppose that that's super, super important to me. I want to be honest, I suppose, about who I am and not do things just to fit in. Even though there have been times where I just didn't want to rock the boat. But I like the idea of being a unique individual, and other people being unique individuals too.
Interesting. Is this the right? I think that might be it for the Strengths Hangout, unless you've got a few more up your sleeve that
No.
you want to tell us. Right, here we go.
I think that's it.
Right, so we'll stop at the
Okay.
moment.